Hello!
Howdy.
I'm Lucas.
And I'm Mike.
And welcome to Glassjaw Nerds, Episode 2.
Oh my god.
Oh my god! Why don't we have that as a sound clip?
I don't know. We need to.
We definitely need to. Yes, that's right. We actually have somewhat of a launch pad today. Oh, nope. I just muted my phone. It's not going to work.
Basic.
Think about this.
Oh, never mind. There we go.
Yeah.
What?
It's
What?
hopefully next week we'll figure out why it's not plugging into the system, but until then it's just going to be poorly done
Poorly
audio.
held in
Yeah.
front of my microphone.
He's going to bump into it a bunch so you hear the thing going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Groovy.
That's a good segue into news today.
Hell yeah.
News. That's the theme song for news now. All right,
Love
so first order of news, Mike, is Namor, the Submariner,
Yeah.
will be the villain in Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever.
You know what? I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, so am I. I really want...
Do they have a cast? Like, have
They haven't
casted him
announced
yet?
cast. This is actually... kind of news, kind of a leak. It was picked up, I think, by Inquirer or Esquire or one of those magazines as a rumor, and then it was kind of leaked on Reddit. But yeah, I'm very excited. Keanu Reeves was said that he was talking to Marvel about some casting and talking to their casting directors. So if they choose him as Namor, actually, I think it's a perfect fit.
I really do too. I really like him. I like Keanu Reeves just generally, but I would really like him as Namor. Just because, I mean, a lot of people, I've seen him a lot of people want him to be Wolverine.
No.
And I really...
He's perfect, physique-wise for Namor.
He really is. And a big reason they want him to be Wolverine is because he said something 30 years ago about, I think it'd be cool. Maybe not been that long ago, but it was before he did The Matrix.
Then, about 30 years ago.
Yeah, where he was I want to, if I was going to do superhero movie, I'd want to be Wolverine because that was because he's Canadian.
Yeah.
So whatever.
That makes sense with how much and stuff he does. Could you imagine, though, 30 years ago, him doing Wolverine? Wow, guys, Scott, I really like Jean. Everyone always does that with Keanu Reeves, but he really only did that for, 2 characters.
Yeah, and really more 1.5. So.
Yeah, well, he did the surfer dude in Point Break.
Yeah.
Like that, and then he did Bill and Ted, which he did Ted like that. All right, moving on, though. We have Woody Harrelson is campaigning for Zombieland 3.
Okay.
Have you seen the second one?
I haven't yet.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm cool with it. I haven't seen Zombieland 2 yet, only because I didn't, I was whatever.
Yeah.
I just, it didn't, it was during quarantine, so I couldn't see it in theaters, and then I just kind of forgot about it. But I really like the first one.
Yeah,
a lot.
My wife watched it on the plane on her way to America when she first came over.
There you go.
And she was like, we got to watch this together. And then it took 4 months for me to finally be like, all right, we can watch it. So it wasn't on
He's a
my
very
priority.
loving and attentive husband.
Yes, very. So it wasn't on my to-do list immediately, but I mean, it was really good. A lot of callback jokes, which you kind of expect considering the first one came out 10 years prior to the second one. So
Yeah.
hopefully if they do make a third one, it's not 10 years from now, and Woody Harrelson is basically fighting off zombies with a walker.
I'm going to punch you.
All right, next point of news is The Lost Boys is getting a remake. This was announced, and Alex Winters, one of the original Lost Boys, commented and said, yeah,
Why?
I played other things besides Bill and Bill and Ted. No, he said they either have to do the mullets or he's not supporting the film at all.
I just don't understand. Who was asking for another Lost Boys?
I don't know. They did the shitty sequels where it was only Corey, not Haines.
Feldman?
Feldman was the only original actor in them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's one of those things where it's Warner Bros. Has realized
okay,
that DC,
that's all you have to say.
and
Warner
DC
Brothers.
has failed them immensely.
No. They failed DC. That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
true.
that they're like, well, let's just throw a bunch of shit at the wall and see what fits.
Every single IP we have is going to be thrown at the wall and see
let's
what
make
happens.
Harry Potter prequels that literally contradict the films we made prior. So
That is true.
yeah,
I like the Fantastic Beasts movies, though.
I like the first one. I haven't seen the second one because literally everybody except my cousin said they liked it, and My cousin Greg's a great dude, but he liked the Assassin's Creed movie.
Oh,
So,
I've never even seen that. I've heard it's terrible.
Very not good. Me and him saw that in theaters, and I remember sitting there going,
I went and saw Prince of Persia.
dude,
in
me
theaters.
too.
Yeah.
I saw that in theaters too.
I saw it at a double feature at a drive-in.
And
with
you know
Toy
what?
Story 3.
Prince of Persia was better than Assassin's Creed because at
That's
least it
saying
had
a lot.
it at least had the things that you like about Prince of Persia was in the movie. The Assassin's Creed, seriously, okay, we're talking about Assassin's Creed now. This is now the Assassin's Creed podcast.
Okay.
This fucking movie, literally, 80% of it is Michael Fassbender in some weird compound talking about how I don't want to do stuff. And they're like, well, you got to do stuff, but I don't want to. And I'm going to call you a motherfucker and yell at you. And
Did he go back into the past at all?
like twice.
Did he take you back to the past? Did he play some shitty games that sucked ass?
No.
Like the Assassin's Creed games? I'm not a big fan of them, I'll just be honest.
I like them. They're fine.
The
They're
first,
fun.
I remember playing
the first one I like a
Yeah, I
lot.
would say. And I like the third one when you do the whole like Tyrant King George or whatever.
Yeah.
And George Washington's become a tyrant. That was cool.
That was cool, yeah.
All right, last bit of news, and this is going to segue into Son of a Pitch, actually.
Hell yeah.
Bruce Campbell's new movie, Black Friday, just had the first images released.
Groovy.
Have you heard about this at all?
No.
So, good sir, Bruce Campbell is playing I think he's like a mall owner or something like that, or he's the manager of a store, and Black Friday's coming up. It's supposed to be like a horror comedy, because of course it is with Bruce Campbell.
Yeah, that's his niche. He knows what the people want. Bruce Campbell is a fucking professional.
He is confirmed to be in Multiverse of Madness as
Yeah,
well.
oh yeah, because he's in every single
Sam Raimi
Sam
picture.
Raimi
They've been
film,
best
yeah.
friends since high school.
Yeah.
Literally.
Like that. No, like they did Evil Dead together, obviously. All the Evil Deads. With the exception of the horrible 2013 remake, which I didn't like.
I love that movie,
I
actually. I thought it
don't.
was great. And
It's-
he was in that. He showed up at the end.
at the end, and he went groovy. Fuck that movie. It took everything that's fun and awesome about Evil Dead and was like, what if we make this just a boring, insidious knockoff?
I watched that one time and was high as fuck. I won't lie. I smoke a lot of weed, guys, out there.
He doesn't. He's lying.
I'm lying. I'm a good boy. Where you live in a legal state, I promise.
Yeah, even though we definitely confirmed last week we were in Indiana.
Yeah, but still.
So,
but I watched it
that's
one
good.
time, and I remember I was baked.
Luke's address is...
Right. And I counted how many times Lou Pesci's character got like stabbed, and it was like over 147 or something like that. Because he gets stabbed with the needle. He gets like fucking like... There's a scene where they get him in the eye, too, and it just looks painful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
Fucking-
so
Ugh.
that is it on my end for news. Do you have any good news to share with us?
Honestly, no.
No.
I mean, you know, we're in this weird place where we're just kind of like waiting now. Like, because a lot of like the big movies, like obviously Venom, that's coming out in like a couple weeks, and Spider-Man No Way Home. And Marvel's, they're so hyping for that they're not talking about anything. They're not doing anything. So we're all just kind of like,
In
basically
limbo.
all the news is there, and like, you know, there's going to be leaks about Spider-Man, which I'm sure Luke will keep us all informed about.
Yes, I will. I have
And
so
I'm
many
so
leaks
excited.
in my head.
And yeah.
Can I share one leak with you from
Share as many as you want.
Multiverse of Madness?
Oh, okay.
Okay. There has been leaked CGI rendering of Charles Xavier in his floating fucking wheelchair from Multiverse of Madness, and it's looking like Patrick Stewart's
Sir
Charles
Patrick
Xavier.
Stewart
Yep.
himself. If he does, it'll be just that one. He's not coming back full time.
No. They've confirmed that anything that's coming up, he's supposedly leading. Just to throw in another little leak, he's leading Illuminati. I think I messaged you
Oh,
about
yeah,
this.
yeah,
the other
yeah.
night. So that's pretty fucking cool that we'll get to see them, even if they don't do an actual movie about the Illuminati.
Yeah, it would be cool.
And
I'm looking forward
yeah,
to it.
so am I, very much. Then there was also the Nowhere at Home leak, which they just leaked 4 of the Sinister Six, but everybody already knows the Sinister Six that's going to be in it, except for the 6th member. Has been confirmed that it's going to be either Sandman, it's going to be Sandman, Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Lizard, and who am I forgetting here?
Vulture.
No, not Vulture.
Oh, they're bringing
Sandman.
Keaton back to be Vulture.
He's being in Morbius. He was in the Morbius
Yeah,
trailer.
he's coming back.
I think so, too.
Could be Scorpion, too. They hinted
Yeah,
at
they
him.
hinted at him. They even had Mac Gargan, pop
Yeah.
up.
Which I've always liked Scorpion. He's always been a cool one.
It'd be a cool way to get J. Jonah Jameson involved more into the
Spider-Man.
plot. Yeah. I'm going to hire this guy to take out Spider-Man and give him fucking a super suit that makes him a scorpion and trust him not to betray me.
But then he's trapped in the suit, so he feels like I betrayed him.
Right? Oh, no. All right, so are you ready for our next segment?
Let's do it.
It's Son of a Pitch.
Hell yeah.
Do you have a pitch for me today?
I do, but you go first.
All right, so my pitch is actually for the 2013 Evil Dead remake. It's going to be a sequel. All right?
Okay.
I went in a more serious direction this time, actually.
Fair enough.
So this is the sequel pitch. Mia, at the end of the movie, obviously she's covered in blood. She just stopped that demon from coming out of the ground. And a portal opens up. And she is transported back in time.
So Army of Darkness?
It's going to be Army of Darkness. But listen, as she lands, a second portal opens up. And who drops in? Ash Williams.
Ash.
Yes.
Housewares.
Yeah. Housewares. Shop smart.
Hail
Shop S-smart.
Hail to the king, baby.
Exactly. And then it's just a fucking montage of badassery as Mia and Ash take down the Army of Darkness. I would pay an unlimited amount of money to watch this movie. I'm just going to be honest. It doesn't even have to have Mia in it. I just wanted to tie her in because like that was the most recent Evil Dead besides Ash versus the Evil Dead. And since they kind of ran parallel to each other, because like Ash vs. the Evil Dead started about a year after that movie came out, so it's like they were obviously trying to set up some movie.
Yeah, I think they were wanting to. See, the thing is that they wanted to. I think what they wanted was to do like a more or less reboot.
Yeah.
Because the thing is look, Bruce Campbell is an older gentleman now. He's in his 60s, and how much is he going to want to keep doing this?
Well,
he did come back for Ash vs. the Evil Dead, which is one of the best series.
Oh, yeah, it's fucking amazing.
I loved it.
I actually have not finished the third season of that, and I need to.
I haven't yet either, just because once I do it, it's over, and I will be sad. Which is a fucked up thing.
He has said it several times. He doesn't care if he is in a fucking wheelchair or a walker. He will fight deadites till the day he is dead.
Yeah. I mean, he said right as it was ending that he was done with Ash, but I think he has since come back and been like, if Sam wants to do it again, cool.
Exactly. And there was a video game that just came out, or an expansion to a video game or something like that.
Yeah.
And he voiced him the whole time. So, like, maybe that's the avenue they're going to go in.
Yeah, like because they've done like Evil Dead comics and stuff like that, and the 90s was a weird time, but I
remember vaguely.
Yeah. But there was a lot of cool shit.
Legends of the Hidden Temple. I don't know why I thought of that just now, but you said 90s, and that's where I went immediately.
Fair enough.
Yeah, right. Silver Snakes. All right, so that was my pitch in Evil Dead 4, if you will.
So, ironically enough, this is weird that you said Evil Dead, but my sequel is also a serious one, and it's also based off of a Sam Raimi product. I would like to see a new Darkman.
Oh, holy shit!
So, for a lot of people who have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, Darkman was this original superhero character that Sam Raimi did in like 91. It was before Army of Darkness. It was like right before Army of Darkness.
NES game for it. So
yeah,
definitely like 91.
And they did a bunch of. They did like 2 or 3 sequels that absolutely no one saw. And they didn't get. Liam Neeson starred as Darkman.
Yeah, it was one of his first films, wasn't it?
I don't know. He's been doing movies for a long time. That was the 90s, bro. Liam Neeson has been doing he's been
but he wasn't a big name actor.
He wasn't a big name actor yet, but he had been doing stuff. But I really love that movie. I don't want to give it away for people who haven't seen it, which is pretty much everybody because it kind of got lost.
Oh, yeah.
But it was the thing that kind of helped springboard him to Spider-Man. So, and you can, when you watch it and you're like, I see where he was going to go with a Spider-Man movie. Like you can see the seeds of what he would do with that. It's about a scientist who creates synthetic skin.
Yep.
And he gets blown up and basically his whole face gets burned off. But because he has this synthetic skin, he can create basically any face he wants and wear it. And he also like got his nerve endings so he can't feel burnt off, so he can't feel pain. And he's just a really cool, interesting character. And the sequels are
trash.
Yeah, they're not very good.
So would your sequel then not have
a true? Yeah, get rid of those. Do Superman Return style, except make it good. And get rid of the bad sequels. Or like what they've done with the Halloween movies now.
Oh,
where it's like the first, like with these new Halloween movies, they've just said all the Halloweens after Halloween 1 are done. They're not canon anymore, which I think is dumb. But
so do I.
But with Darkman, I think it would work because those movies, I don't even think the sequels were. I think they were like straight to video.
They were.
Like no one cares.
Yeah. I always watch them and the Toxic Avenger.
Yeah.
Like I always put those in the same category.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'd really like to. I think Darkman would do really well. Because obviously Marvel is still the big one, but like Invincible.
Yeah.
I remember reading Invincible comics.
Yeah.
And being like, we'll probably never see an adaptation of this, and now we're seeing it, and it's memed, so people are like rolling with it.
Yeah, they're into it.
Yeah, and like I really think, Marvel's going to be the top dog for a long time.
Oh yeah,
because DC's never going to get their shit together as long as they're owned by Warner Brothers, which hopefully, fingers crossed, won't be much longer. And
I'm gonna laugh if Disney buys them. I will shit my pants.
Well, that is one thing like speculative that I think honestly what's probably going to happen is Warner Brothers is going to start selling off properties.
Oh yeah.
But like they're not going to sell off DC as a whole. They'll sell like the Green Lantern IP and the Flash IP.
You heard it here first. Mike is going to try to buy the Green Lantern property.
I will. I won't have the money. It would be so. I'm not getting into it. But the thing is that I think they're going to basically do what like Stan Lee did in the early 90s when Marvel was going out of business. And he's who wants whatever? Come buy it. Let's make some money. I'm hungry and we're going bankrupt because I retired for 10 years and they fucking ran the company. They
destroyed my company and did Marvel Max, which no one remembers but me, apparently.
I remember.
Okay.
But, I think Darkman would be a really cool thing. It would also be an avenue for people, because right now every superhero that you see is from a comic book.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like, that doesn't necessarily have to be the only avenue. Give comic book-like characters, start them on the big screen.
Yeah.
And then you can move them to like, I think it would start an interesting precedent. Yeah. And I just think it'd be a cool movie. I think people would really like Darkman.
Last time we mentioned Hancock, and I think that's why people shit on Hancock so much because they
didn't recognize it.
Exactly. But
fuck that.
The lore of Hancock's really interesting. I would like to see more of these gods, and I know they said they were the last two, but all it takes is a fucking quick like, oh, you thought you were the last two, like.
But holy moly, here's
four more of them or whatever.
Greggy McCauley, that's one of the.
Raggy McCauley.
Greggy McCauley.
Greggy McCauley.
Because I needed a rhyme. Whatever. Darkman is my pitch. Darkman 2, The Return of Darkman.
I could see that happening actually, just because they just finished filming on a new Toxic Avenger.
Yeah,
Peter Dinklage playing Toxic.
I love that.
Yeah, so do I.
I really think at this point, it's if Sam wants to do it. If Sam Raimi wants to do it, he'll get it done. I mean, they let him make a fucking prequel to Wizard of Oz. He's got all the credit to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about Return to Oz at first.
No,
and I was like, no.
I saw Oz the Great and Powerful in theaters, and you know what? I liked it.
Yeah, it's not a bad
movie
at all.
It was pretty good.
Yeah,
it was fine. It didn't blow my mind, but I enjoyed it.
All right, so that was Son of a Pitch this week. And we've been trying to lean towards more comic book stuff. Just like there's news, obviously, for comic books, but a lot of it, a lot of stuff going on right now in the comic book industry, at least.
The industry's not doing great.
Yeah, it's not doing well. Marvel's doing okay. They just did a clone.
Yeah.
It's okay. Sorry. They just did another Clone Saga, and people were saying it's good.
I mean, right now I am a little interested in what's going on in DC, simply just because
the last thing was so terrible.
Well, yeah, but so with Infinite Frontier has been kind of interesting. There's no news as of right now about it, but apparently Darkseid is starting his own Lantern Corps called the Omega Lanterns, and Roy Harper, the old sidekick for Green Arrow, is apparently the first guy.
Oh.
And what they're doing with Green Lantern's been pretty cool.
Green Lantern has stayed consistent for the most part.
Yeah,
I'd say that loosely. For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, it's because Green Lantern is popular enough that people want to see it, but it's also not so popular, whereas the company is fucking, hovering over the creators. And for a long time it was Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns made one of the best-selling and, in my opinion, critically best comic books.
Emerald Twilight?
Or he made Blackest Night.
Oh, Blackest Night.
And I loved Blackest Night. I thought it was great. Hal Jordan has never been my favorite Green Lantern. He's probably not even my third or fourth favorite, to be honest with you.
John Stewart for the win.
Kyle Rayner's my number one. John Stewart's number two.
Beautiful.
And I really like Simon Baz, too. He's grown on me.
And then, as you noticed, neither of us mentioned Guy Gardner.
You know what, though? Because I like Guy Gardner as a Red Lantern. That was the one thing about the New 52 that I really liked, was when they made him a Red Lantern and basically in charge of the Red Lantern Corps.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually.
Yeah, he does not work as a Green Lantern.
No, he's too angry.
Yeah, he works better as a Red Lantern, and it works, but...
That segues into our next segment before we get into the meat of this podcast, which is...
The meat.
The top 5 favorite comic book moments for both of us.
Hoo-hoo, yeah. So start 5, 5, 4, 4, 3,
Yep,
3,
yep.
yeah. You first then, my man.
Me first is Spider-Man Lifts is what I wrote down, but it's Amazing Spider-Man number 33, and it's when Aunt May is sick. She's in the hospital. Peter has to get an antidote, and he gets crushed under some building. It's been redone in almost every Spider-Man movie. It's just such an iconic moment in all of comic book history, and I'm not gonna lie, when they did it in Homecoming and Peter was under the
that
he's
was
like, you
good.
got this, Spider-Man. I welled up a little bit.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I remember being in the theater and being like, go Spider-Man, go Spider-Man, go, and like hyping him up as I'm watching it. It's just the paneling in it too is just amazing. And it's Steve Ditko. I mean, you can't get better than that.
Well, Jack Kirby, but...
No, that was Steve Ditko at that time.
Well, no. You could get better than Steve Ditko and Jack Kirby. But,
all right, so you're number 5?
My number 5 is a tad bit of an obscure one. I don't remember the exact... Because this was during the Marvel Civil War.
Okay.
And Richard Rider, Nova.
Yes, okay.
Who... I like Nova. I like Sam Alexander a little bit more than Richard Rider, because whatever. I don't like the originals. Fuck original people. Fuck him.
Miles Morales is the best Spider-Man. Actually, he's a really good Spider-Man.
I like him a lot. Although Peter Parker's probably still my favorite. But so Richard Rider, his whole arc is he came back from, I believe it was the Annihilation War.
Okay.
And he came back and he comes back from this horrible war. So many of his friends in the Nova Corps have died.
Oh, yeah.
And he fucking comes back to Earth and there's this civil war going on. And... he has
to choose a side.
Yeah, he's outed, and he's got this weird relationship with his father because his father resents him for being a superhero because of the whole events. And they're scared of him because
he's an all-powerful being, basically.
Yeah. And my moment that I love is when he decides that he's leaving, and he hacks his parents' TV and sends them a message saying, "I don't belong here anymore," and just that whole moment to me was awesome because it was what made Civil War great.
Oh yeah,
is that Civil War? I really like the first Civil War. I never read Civil War 2 because I was like, this is
I haven't read it either.
Bad. It's like it's a cash grab and fuck them.
Yeah.
But like, Civil War was this really like, there's no bad guy in Civil War.
No,
it's just. And that's one thing I really like when comic books do is like I remember this issue of like Superman where it was basically like, what if Superman actually existed? And it was like, what would be the world would be like? It would be different because here's this all powerful being that's just annoyingly
there would be no
benevolent.
war because the person who started it's getting their shit kicked in.
Yeah, and I liked it because they were like, well, he's not. He's not going to be injustice. He's just genuinely this annoyingly benevolent force.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do? Like, what's the world like? And that's what Civil War was. It was this really interesting look. And,
it was a lot of human moments.
Yeah, and Nova deciding to move on from basically being human and being Nova full-time. I like that moment a lot. It was a really powerful moment.
All right, yeah.
Very underrated.
I agree. Very underrated. I agree entirely. So my number 4 is actually the final issue of The Walking Dead.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, the reason I chose it is because Robert Kirkman had actually lied to everybody, and he had released covers past it and stuff like that, like to hint at it and be like, hey, these are going to be the issue covers for after it and stuff. And the next thing we knew, we were like 15, 20 years in the future, I think it is. Carl's a grown man, and it's literally like the last few pages of it is he's telling his daughter a story, and it's like on a printed book because obviously society has basically rebuilt by this point. the tales of Rick Grimes, his dad,
Yeah.
And it was just a very touching moment. And to blindside fans that way and end the series without letting people know, hey, it's about to end, I think that was the smartest move he could have done.
Yeah.
Without that, everybody would have hyped it up. Everybody would have, oh, The Walking Dead's ending. No, he just blindsided us.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. It was. I remember so many people were upset by it, but no, I loved every moment of it. And reading that issue, it felt like the perfect way to close it.
Yeah.
So what's your number 4?
Man, this is hard because they're all like right there. But my number 4 is the end of The Final Night, which is a DC property. There's a lot of backstory that goes into it. So basically, I was telling you about this before. There's this entity that's going to eat the sun, and nobody on Earth can stop it.
Oh, yeah, we just talked about this.
Yeah, and Kyle Rayner gets an idea. Kyle Rayner, who at the time is the only Green Lantern, and Hal Jordan is Parallax at this point. And this is before you find out that Parallax is an emotional entity, and we're not going to talk about that. I liked when he was Parallax because he was heartbroken, and he was just driven mad by the loss.
This is after, he remade the city out of...
Oh, yeah, and this is after Zero Hour. This is after all that. And Kyle Rayner goes to Hal Jordan and says, Earth's going to be destroyed. We need you. And Hal Jordan sacrifices himself to reignite the sun. And
beautiful.
I love it because I'm a big fan of redemption stories.
Oh, yeah.
And the whole, like, I've never been a huge... I like Hal Jordan better now than I did prior to his Parallax run because Jeff Johns wrote him as something of a character as opposed to being 1950s guy. Yeah. But...
Want to see me make a plane?
But when he was Parallax, he was human in a weird... Like, I like villains I get. Yeah, I like villains that I understand.
And we've talked about this before. That's what makes Spider-Man's Rogues Gallery so good.
Yeah, because you understand why these characters are like... That's why, like, the Joker never did much for me, because it's like, I'm just crazy. Like, I don't like
Mr.
that.
Freeze is obviously a better Batman villain because
easily. Or even Riddler.
Has a motive. Yeah,
Riddler. Riddler I love.
Riddler's my favorite Batman villain. So
Freeze is probably mine. But... Or even, like, Hush is another great one. Like, and then with Spider-Man villains, like... I mean, all of them have understandable motives, except the Shocker... Because he's just
I want to rob banks.
Yeah, which, you know what, I love in a different direction. And Hal Jordan's whole run as Parallax, he literally committed, like, genocides.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he killed the entire Green Lantern Corps.
Jesus.
He obliterated universes during Zero Hour in a weird, complex way. Zero Hour kind of makes sense. But for him to come back and for his final moment to do that, which then set up great, he comes back, spoiler alert, as the Spectre. But instead of being the spirit of God's vengeance, he becomes the spirit of God's redemption.
Yeah.
Which that's a whole great arc. And it's a darn good arc. And Hal Jordan's final moments redeeming himself I love it.
Beautiful. Beautifully said. All right, so my third one is definitely odd, definitely out there. I'm going to apologize to you because I know you started reading this series. My third one comes from issue number 37 of a comic called Chew. If you haven't read it out there, read it. It's a 65-issue series, I believe. It ran through Image Comics, and it's about a detective in the Food and Drug Administration who eats food and can see all of their past lives. So, like, all of their life, I should say.
Yeah.
The moment is his sister is murdered, and to figure out how to stop the man who killed her, he eats her toe. And at the same time, his daughter, who also has the same power as he does, eats her mother's toe, which had been in the freezer, so that her mother had... I know you haven't gotten too deep into the comic, but her mother had died before she was born. She was severely schizophrenic, and it led to some health issues, and she had passed away. So it was a chance for her to see in the whole moment with Tony eating his sister's toe and like getting to spend those final moments with her, and her like leading him in the right direction of defeating the villain of the comics, and then his daughter Olive eating her mother's toe, and just it's a very beautiful, in an odd way, moment where you get to see these characters who have, I'm not going to spoil too much just because, like I said, you haven't read it, where they haven't had a moment to breathe, like, up until this point. So it was good to see them actually, like, take time to do this, and especially with his daughter's case, with seeing her mother, she never knew her mother and stuff like that. It's a very emotional moment, and I just really enjoyed it. It's one of my favorite moments of the entire series.
I'm glad. I'm glad that it's good.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get there.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
still reading
amazing.
through it.
Once again, I'm sorry for the spoiler, but
nah. So my number 3, I know my number 4 was this really like emotional moment.
yeah.
My number 3 is just a badass moment.
Okay, yeah, fair
It
enough.
is Spawn's Armageddon.
Okay.
When he fights God and Satan.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's a badass moment.
Okay, so I read a lot of my comic books when I was young, when I was like in elementary school.
Yeah.
My elementary school library had a section where there were comic books, and I can only imagine that the poor older lady that was getting comic books, I remember comic books from when I was a wee girl, and she saw Spawn, and she's like, oh, he looks like cool. I bet the young boys will like that. And so I, at like 6, 7, 8, read Spawn comics.
Oh God!
Which I think if anybody had an idea what was in those books, they would have been destroyed, and I would have been like mind wiped.
Therapy.
Like, yeah, but I loved it. It's just cool. It's just a great,
Oh yeah.
Spawn just finally saying, you know what, fuck this, fuck you guys. I'm gonna become master of the universe and just take over,
right?
Because you guys suck. I mean, that's really all I got to say about it. It's just a lot of great visuals, a lot of great art. Spawn Armageddon.
Okay, so we're on to number 2. We're getting down to the final ones.
You're on 3.
No, I just told my 3.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You started.
Get me all fucked up like that. No.
I know, my bad.
All right, so my number 2 is a very sad moment in comics. And it was in the most recent Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles run, and it is Donatello's death. They go out and they fight Bebop and Rocksteady, and Rocksteady breaks his shell with a sledgehammer. And they bring him home, and I'm getting all like goosebumpy and stuff talking about it. And Splinter's holding him, and is like, my son is dead. And it's just so fucking gut-wrenching, man. Like, just, I'm getting all, like, you guys can't see this, but I'm getting all, like, teary-eyed talking about it. Just imagining, like, the panel of him, like, holding him, and Michelangelo and Raphael and Leonardo are standing around him, and Donatello's lifeless body is lying on the floor with his head in Splinter's lap. Like, it's a rough moment, man.
Yeah.
And it led into The Last Ronin, which I've recommended to you several times. It's still going, I think. I think there's 1 or 2 more issues left of it because it's a limited run.
Yeah.
And it's Eastman and Lards. It's their last time writing for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Yeah.
I need a moment now.
So my number 2 is admittedly a bit of a basic choice, I'll admit.
Fair enough.
But I remember seeing this when I was in middle school, like the first time I read it. Like, read it. Like, I knew about it, obviously. The final panel of Death of Superman.
Oh, yeah.
Just look, I love Superman. Superman, second or third favorite DC character. I love Superman a lot. And I love everything that he's about. I just love the whole thing. And just to see him give it all. You know, it's just a beautiful moment.
Is the last panel of that, now remind me here, is it when Lois is holding him and his cape's in the background with the S on it floating? Yeah,
it's
that
just
is iconic.
It's iconic. It's just wonderful.
It is.
And the whole book is great. Like the whole.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was actually one of the first Superman comics I ever read, because like I said, I grew up on Marvel. I didn't really read too much DC.
Well, and it's weird because I'm kind of like, I grew up with both, but like for me, comic books, it was mostly DC that I read, and it was Marvel was like TV shows and movies and stuff,
games, things like that.
And I read a lot of Spider-Man comics because those are easy to get a hold of.
I was the opposite.
And honestly, Iron Man comics.
Yeah,
I read a lot of those.
I read mostly Marvel, and then I would watch like the Justice League, or Teen Titans, and things like that.
A lot of great stuff.
But the Death of Superman was probably one of the first DC graphic novels I read, besides like Dark Knight Returns or Killing Joke or anything like that. All right, so my number 1 is actually fairly basic as well, and it is Spider-Man revealing himself as Peter Parker
Ooh,
in
that's a good
Civil
one.
War.
Yeah.
It was just such an iconic moment when he takes off that mask and he's like, my name's Peter Parker, and I've been Spider-Man since I was 15 years old.
I remember reading that for the first time.
Yeah, so do
and
I.
being like,
yeah, oh my God. Yeah. And J. Jonah Jameson's face and like 2 panels away from it, he's just like...
Which he's a dumbass. Like, of all the people in the world, he should have been able to be like, look, okay, like, low key,
right?
These are like glamour shots. Like,
oh yeah,
he's definitely Spider-Man. Like,
right? He should have known.
They're the same build, they're the same height, come on, like
yeah, he should have known.
Idiot.
I do love the. There's this little. I can't remember what Spider-Man comic it is, but one of J. Jonah's contemporaries is like, why do you keep giving Peter Parker money? Why do you keep paying him? Because his first pictures are, fucking garbage that he takes to Spider-Man. And J. Jonah's just like, because I saw him, I'd read about his uncle in my own paper. We'd written about it and what happened to him. And I knew the kid needed something. And he just needed a break at that moment.
Now, J. Jonah Jameson, they've made him a really interesting character. Like, he's a bizarre character. He's at times very unlikable, but he's at times
I've always
very
loved
human.
him.
Yeah, me too. He's a good character.
Oh yeah, great character. So what's your number one, Mike?
Man, there's so many. Like, I have a bunch of honorable mentions.
Of course.
I loved at the end of Flashpoint. At the end of Flashpoint, Thomas Wayne gives Barry Allen a note to give to his son, to Bruce, and it's just a note saying, "I love you, I'm proud of you," and stuff. And it just and Batman he just goes, "Thanks, Barry," like that. Because it's this beautiful little moment. Like, he got to talk to his dad, or kind of, and that's a good moment. The Spider-Man reveal, that's a great one.
Yeah, it is.
The Iron Man reveal is a good one too.
Oh yeah,
but I have to say that my favorite comic book moment was the cover of the classic Green Lantern and Green Arrow.
I know
where
which one you're
where
going
they walk
for.
in and Speedy's doing heroin or whatever.
Like, oh my God, Green Arrow! Speedy's addicted to heroin.
I'm kidding. That's not my favorite. That's my favorite. One of my favorite covers, just because it's like,
it's so ridiculous.
Like,
yeah, who signed off on that?
So like Reagan era PSA shit. Like, it's just such a dumb moment. Man, I think my favorite moment, and this will probably be a somewhat controversial one.
Okay.
And I like it more for what it represented than the actual moment, although the moment was cool. My favorite Green Lantern's Kyle Rayner.
Yep.
And it was the issue of Green Lantern right after 0 Hour. So Hal Jordan's been defeated, Parallax has been defeated, but now Kyle's like, he's got to go fucking finish the job. He's got to get rid of Parallax once and for all, which he doesn't, but he pretty much does. And he has this moment with Hal Jordan. Like, he has these moments where he's relating to Hal, and he even gives his ring back to Hal, and then Hal's all like, I'm going to be Green Lantern and change the universe. And Kyle's like, shit.
Yeah,
like,
now I got to get the ring back.
But the fight is so epic, and then they're on Oa, which is the Green Lantern planet.
Homeworld, yeah.
And Kyle's like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm taking you out. And he blows up the planet. Kyle blows up the planet, taking, at the time, he thinks Hal Jordan with him. And at the end of the line, he goes, all right, I'm the last Green Lantern. Get used to it. Like, and it's basically DC going, we're not going back.
Yeah.
We've decided Kyle's the new Green Lantern.
We're not.
If you don't like it,
yeah.
Suck it up, because this is what's happening. And I love that, because that was DC having the courage to take a risk.
Yeah.
Something that they have completely lost.
Oh yeah, entirely.
And all comic books have, because like the thing is that like they're gonna keep going back because they're scared. And I that's why when they did Green Lantern Rebirth in 2006, it's just disappointing, because it's like, oh, Hal Jordan's coming back. And
yeah.
every other Green Lantern is going to take a back seat because they're bringing back the OG.
Could you imagine if it was just all Guy Gardner? Like, it just. And you say that all comic books do that, but I'm going to call Marvel pretty ballsy for going back to the Clone Saga.
Yeah, that took some balls because and I think there was them trying to get it right. And Marvel is better at it, because now DC, like, the reason they keep rebooting everything is because they want to get back to a status quo.
Yeah,
and they're like, and it just doesn't work, because they're just throwing shit at a wall trying to see what sticks. Whereas in that moment, they were like, no, fuck it. Kyle Rayner is the Green Lantern. And he was, for like another decade, the only Green Lantern. And it was just more or less because Alan Scott was still around. And Jade was still around. And she kind of was a something.
I forget about her every fucking day.
Yeah, so did DC.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Which I really like her. I thought she was a really cool character. But yeah, there's a lot of great moments. But that one I loved just because it showed courage. And it was my favorite Green Lantern getting his moment in the sun.
Yeah, getting a chance to actually be the only Green Lantern.
And for them to say, we're doubling down. We believe in this character. We believe in this arc that we're doing. And then in a very Kyle Rayner fashion, the next line was him going from planet to planet because now he's lost and he doesn't know how to get back to Earth. And he's like, does anyone have any directions? And it was good. That was probably my favorite moment.
Beautiful. Beautifully said and beautifully done, my friend.
If you ask me again tomorrow, I'll probably have 5 new ones.
Yeah, so will I. It took forever for me to get those.
Yeah.
Because I won't lie, guys, I break down the segments and shit. Literally, when we finish recording tonight, I will be breaking down the segments for next week's episode and everything. And it took me until about 10 minutes before we aired or started to record before I had my final moment picked.
Yeah.
And I was still on the fence about it.
Same.
So many. My dog just made a weird fucking noise. I thought about doing the one where, Green Goblin rapes Gwen Stacy and they have a baby and then she like falls in love with him even though he raped her. But I was like, that's probably too controversial. And plus, people probably wouldn't think it was as funny as I do. That like,
well, one moment like
just dumb.
The death of Gwen Stacy, just because that was a very
that
specific
was almost
twist.
One of mine.
Yeah, I thought about that one. I also thought about.
Bucky's death was also one of mine just because originally when he died, he didn't come back. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, Winter Soldier.
Yeah. Well, and then even with Dr. Manhattan, the classic.
Oh, yeah.
Him on Mars just kind of giving up.
That's such a beautiful moment, too.
There's a lot of great, and then there's, so many Hellboy moments. I'm a big Hellboy fan.
Oh, yeah.
I saw the first Guillermo del Toro movie, and I was like, I need to know more about this character. And the comic books, I like those movies. The first one is the best. Golden was it Golden Compass or whatever?
Golden Army.
I
liked that movie.
It was good, but it wasn't as good. And then I haven't even seen the new one.
Him killing the forest god thing was crazy.
Yeah. Hellboy's a cool character, and
he is. I liked Abe Sapien. He's probably my favorite.
Oh yeah, he's cool.
And isn't that movie The Shape of Water about his origin kind of? Because the deaf lady falls in love with the fish man, and they have Abe at the end or something. I've never watched it. That's just what I've
never watched it either, but I've kind of
heard.
I think Guillermo. I think he repurposed a script that he wrote to be.
Oh, okay.
And then they were like, we're not gonna make this. This is fucking weird. And he's like, I'm just gonna.
Yeah, it's Hellboy. I promise.
Yeah. I think he was just like, yeah, fuck it. They won't let it be Hellboy. I'll just make it my own thing.
Right.
I'm pretty sure that's what happened, but yeah.
Okay, so moving on to the main subject of tonight's podcast. Once again, add 40-something fucking minutes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Fucking
the Fantastic Four, right? Yeah, once again, listen or don't. If you're bored, stop listening to us.
God forbid I was ever happy.
But it is the Fantastic Four. Fantastic Four!
Motherfucker.
A lot of leaks have actually said that the 90s Fantastic Four movie, the one that was never released, I think it's...
Roger Corman one.
Yeah, the Roger Corman one.
That literally a German company made so they didn't lose the rights.
Yeah,
that's the whole reason.
And you can watch the whole thing on YouTube, though, which is cool as fuck.
And you know what? Considering it was made with $100.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's pretty good.
But the Thing from Roger Cormick and the Doctor Doom from that movie are supposedly showing up in Multiverse of Madness. 3 different leaks have said this, and I'm just praying to God that it's true. So what do you want to see in a Fantastic Four movie?
Man, well... So Doctor Doom is my favorite Marvel villain.
Of course.
I love Doctor Doom, and I like to see him ASAP, but I don't think he should be the main villain of the first.
Neither do I. I think they should set him up in a different way.
Yeah.
Not, in a different... we talked about this the other day, and I said Disney Plus series about him, because Doom is such an interesting character.
He really
could
is.
Almost... There could be he could be the first solo villain movie.
Oh, easy. Because he is... everything that they say the Joker is.
Exactly.
And the thing is that a kind of a misconception is that Doom is specifically a Fantastic Four villain. He is, but he's I mean, he's had run-ins with everybody.
Oh,
the
yeah.
X-Men, he's had run-ins
He's also
with...
teamed up with a lot of people, too. Like, to fight other villains.
Because Doom is not an inherently evil character.
No, he just wants to lead his people well.
Yeah, well, he wants to... So his whole thing is that he believes that Earth is doomed unless he becomes the sole dictator.
Which has kind of been proven.
Yeah, he talks to, like, the Panther God.
Yep.
That Black... There's that almost made my list, too.
I guarantee it.
And actually, I'm kind of regretting I didn't put it on there because it's this great moment where the Panther God's like looking at Doctor Doom and he's all like, I need to take over the world or the world will go to shit. And the Panther God looks at all the possible futures and the only one where Earth doesn't fall to shit is where Doctor Doom is the dictator of the whole planet. And the Panther God's like, I mean, fucking, he's right.
Yeah, he's right.
And then just walks away.
Yep.
Doesn't do
Gives
anything.
him the power and is just like, all right.
Yeah, say it.
It's on you.
I love that moment. I don't know, like, honestly, I don't even know if I want to, like, a villain. Because, like, Fantastic Four doesn't have a lot of great villains that are, like...
Mole Man. I want Mole Man. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, it's because he's in the first issue, and it would just be like, if they're going to use a fucking cheesy, campy villain, do Mole Man.
Well, and you could do... You know what? That's actually a really good idea. Because then what they could also do is, like, Mole Man, he could just be, like, this little fucking throwaway.
Oh, yeah.
And most of the movie is about them figuring out their powers, finding their place in the MCU and stuff. I think that'd be cool.
Well, supposedly, and it's supposed to be revealed in No Way Home, is that the old Avengers Tower is now going to be the Baxter Building.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, and there's the first ever press photo, anything like that was released of No Way Home was Peter walking in front of the construction site of the building.
Yeah.
And it says 1, 2, 3, and where the 4 is a question mark, and it was like, the road to progress is paved with this and blah, blah, or something like that. And it's like, they're setting it up that's
definitely.
gonna happen.
He's coming.
And they're supposedly going to make their debut in Multiverse of Madness as well.
Yeah.
Not in a multiversal sense either. Like, they're just there.
Yeah.
I guarantee it'll probably be like Reed and he goes to Doctor Strange goes to him, or Reed comes to him and is like, you fucked up the multiverse. Because let's face it, Reed Richards is one of the most intelligent people in the Marvel universe. I believe
he is officially declared the smartest man in Marvel.
Oh, yeah.
In the Marvel
Except
universe.
for his distant ancestor, Kang, who figured out time travel.
True.
Kang!
But, yeah, I mean, I would really like this to see kind of a, classic old school origin. Because, like, Fantastic Four was always one of Stan Lee's favorites.
Oh, yeah.
And he always pushed them.
There's a reason he called them the first family of Marvel.
Yeah, but the thing is that they have definitely been pushed aside in the last, like, couple decades.
Oh, yeah,
and
definitely.
I think fans need a good refresher on them.
That's how I feel as well.
And I want to see Doom ASAP. I was really, really disappointed that Doom didn't show up in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yep.
I was like, they're in Europe in some made up bullshit country, which
called Latvia or something, which I think it is.
It is a real country. Cause at first I was like, if they're going to Latvia, I will fucking shit my pants.
Oh,
and then they didn't, so I didn't have to clean myself.
And they kept going to talk about Sokovia, which is like supposedly near
it's
Latveria.
Like, I'm like, they could have easily done it. It was stupid that they didn't, but. Again, it's because they don't want to, rock the boat too much.
There's been script leaks and stuff of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier where, like, Wolverine was supposed to show up and cameo and shit.
I really think they want to do him. And
I do, too.
And I think somebody up in the higher
Probably
arcs,
Feige. Feige was probably
it's just it's too much too soon.
Exactly, which he's right. I mean,
No, fuck him. He's wrong.
He's wrong.
I want Doom,
he wants Doom that bad. But no, I agree. I think it should be more of a character piece at first. I don't think that it should be a villain is the main focus of.
Yeah, give us a chance to re-meet these characters and understand them.
I think that's one of my favorite parts of Infinity War, actually, and Endgame, is that there's a big chunk of the movie where, the threat of Thanos is looming, but not all of the characters are dealing with him.
Yeah.
Like, literally, in Infinity War, the Guardians of the Galaxy are fucking dealing with him more than anybody until he gets to Titan, and then Robert Downey Jr., Iron Man, and them all get to Titan as well. But it's a chance to give us character growth and, like you said, character development. Make the villain the failed mission, basically.
Yeah.
Make the villain their own psyche. That's
and them just learning
seen.
it. Like,
exactly.
That's the thing. Because, again, I mean, our generation, and, like, we're millennials, Gen Zs and stuff, as far as we know, the only instance we have of Fantastic Four have been memes and jokes.
Fanforstic.
Yeah, which my favorite review of that movie was I watched it with my dad in my apartment in Nashville at the time, and it ended, and it was just a few minutes in, like a couple, like 15 seconds into the credits, and my dad just went, "That sucked." And I was like, there you go. That's all
I
you
can't
have to
remember
say.
who the director was, but the director went on fucking Twitter,
yeah.
and he's like, "They fucking ruined my
the guy
movie."
who did Chronicle.
Yeah. He was so upset because he shot so much, and you can tell too with the editing and everything, where like Reed disappears for a fucking year.
Ever, yeah.
Yeah, like they fucked that movie up so bad, and then
I'm not sure it would have been a good movie if he had gotten his vision totally, but it would have been better than what we got.
Yeah, exactly. And he said that like Doctor Doom was fucking destroyed by their editing and shit like that, which I get. Like if they would have showed us more of Doom, he probably would have been a more reasonable character. I liked the kid they got to play Doctor Doom in that.
I didn't.
Miles Teller.
It wasn't the Doom I wanted, but for what it was good.
I don't know what the fuck is up with live action adaptations of Doctor Doom where they're like, hey, let's mangle this motherfucker.
Yeah, let's make him into a weird because I think there's this idea that Doom is like this mustache twirling Silver Age villain, and no, he's not really.
I want to know why they think that his skin is metal.
Yeah,
what is up with
that's
that?
actually a big thing in the comics. Is that the reason he wears that suit is one because he fucked up his face.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, the original comic is pretty stupid, but because so the whole arc is that his mom's in hell and he's trying to build a portal to hell to save her, and it blows up in his face, and it gives him like a little scratch on his face, and he was like, I
was gorgeous, now I'm hideous.
Yeah, and then he goes and gets this magical armor and he literally puts it on his face right after it's out of like the welding process, and it like seethes it like totally burns his face off. Yeah. They're like, you want to like wait 5? No, and then
he's like, I'm Doom.
Which I can see why they were like, this guy's a dumb goofy idiot, but the more modernized version of him, he's a much more compelling and interesting character, and I just think they're going back to the Silver Age.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
Which never go back to the Silver Age.
Yes, he welded the mask to his face, but never did he grow metal out of his
No,
skin.
that was never a thing. And it's also like, what are Doctor Doom's powers? The answer is kind of yes.
Yes.
He's kind of whatever. I mean, he's like been a candidate for Sorcerer Supreme in the comics.
Oh, yeah.
So he's got magic. He's the Doom bots are silly.
That's why I wish they would have got him out before they did the What If series. I know you haven't watched it at all, but
not yet. Going to.
Just what if Doctor Doom was Sorcerer Supreme would be fucking amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, Doctor Doom's been Iron Man.
Oh yeah,
he's.
Actually, when I was a kid, I thought that Doctor Doom was mainly an Iron Man villain.
Yeah, because they've had their fights.
Several encounters together.
Yeah, that's why I think Doom would be an interesting character to show up somewhere else.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
So, do you want to do a fan casting of this?
I definitely do.
Okay. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first?
Okay, my Victor Von Doom, if they did Victor Von Doom in the first one, I'm just going to get this out of the way. I don't think this would happen, especially since he signed on for so many movies with DC right now, is Paul Dano. I think Paul Dano would be an amazing Victor Von Doom, especially if we're going for people in their late 20s, early 30s.
I very much didn't for Doom, to be honest with you. But,
okay, fair enough. But if we're going with Doom, I think Paul Dano would be a great character. He's got this malicious intent to him. If you've ever seen Swiss Army Man,
I haven't, but I've heard good things.
It's amazing, and I won't give away the ending, but like it definitely has some very dangerous undertones to it. I'm just gonna say that. All right, so for Reed Richards, I want the most talked about casting for him, John Krasinski, just because I think he fits the part.
Yeah, to an extent,
he looks like him, and I think that he could pull it off well.
Oh no, Krasinski could definitely pull it off well. Honestly, and I would, if he was doing it and he ended up also directing it, I'd be cool with that too.
Oh yeah, so would I. I heard John Watts is taking it over. I heard he's the one that's going to be directing it. My Sue Storm is Natalie Dormer.
Okay, I like that.
I showed you her the other
day.
she's
from Game of Thrones. She's been in a lot of stuff.
She was also in Captain America: The First Avenger, but it was like a bit part.
It's like a fuck. Yeah, no one will remember. Just
she tried to fuck him.
Pull a George Lucas and just edit her out.
Exactly.
In future releases, just it's another.
There's 17 walking AT-ATs in the background instead of her. Don't ask why.
This is oh, man. They
Also,
really
there's
changed
this blue singing alien in a cantina scene for some reason.
And that was in Jabba's palace, by the way.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
I thought about it after I said it. That's like last week we were talking about Peter's parents, and like literally when we stopped, I was like, "It's fucking Richard and Mary."
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I said Martha, and it's Mary, so I'm closer than I probably should have been.
Now, Johnny Storm, I went a little younger because he's supposed to be the younger brother of Sue Storm. His name's Decree Montgomery. He is in Stranger Things for season 2 and 3. He was also the Red Ranger in the 2017 Power Rangers reboot. And yeah, he did fucking phenomenal in that. And he's got that kind of like, I'm an asshole attitude to him.
Yeah, that kind of Johnny Storm thing. Yeah,
and I could see him being, the motorcycle jumping fucking. I want to be a stunt or Daredevil kind of shit. Not Daredevil, the blind character, but Daredevil in the sense of like doing stunts and whatnot.
I want justice.
Yeah, I want justice.
Ben Affleck.
And 2, count them, 2 Evanescence songs. This is the second episode we fit that into. I'm so glad. I could just see him being Johnny Storm and like flaming on, and then he throws a calculator at a wall, and bus tokens go everywhere.
I'm just gonna take this to the subway.
All right.
Fucking hell.
My Ben Grimes, I'm gonna have to sell you one. I think.
Okay, I'm ready.
Terry Crews.
On board.
In
fact, I'm actually pissed because that's better than mine.
Yeah.
Damn it! Now,
have you ever watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
A little bit.
Okay, his comedic timing in that's fucking amazing. But he also there's some episodes like there's an episode where he's outside his house because his daughter dropped her blanket outside.
Yeah.
And he gets arrested even though he's a fucking captain of the police force, lieutenant, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And gets arrested for being a black man.
Yeah.
And it's just he has the emotional depth, and I don't think anyone's given him the chance to do that.
To actually do a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Ben Grimes is the kind of character that, it's clobbering time and shit like that. He does do the cracking wise and shit, but he's also
very tortured.
Exactly.
Because he's
very tortured.
basically his life has been robbed from him.
Exactly.
This giant
Everyone else, it's like, oh, I can stretch, I can catch on fire, I can turn invisible. I'm a fucking rock. And I think Terry Crews could bring some life to the character.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Right? I do. I think he would just be perfect.
I think you're right. I feel like
because he was there as muscle anyway.
So I'm gonna real quick. I picked John Cena. I think John Cena would.
He would.
He won't because he's Peacemaker now in DC. But I am. I'm very much on board. I want to change mine preemptively to Terry Crews. That's a better choice.
Fair enough.
I like John Cena a lot, but I think.
So do I. I heard that rumor about him being Sandman in No Way Home. If Hayden Thomas Park or whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
Hayden Christensen. No.
I think it's like Hayden Thomas Christian or something like that.
No, we're both confusing him with Hayden Christensen.
I'll look it up while you're going.
Yes, please. But yeah, no, I read that he, was going to be Sandman, and someone even did some fan art of it, and it just looked fucking amazing. And I would love to see it. Of course, he's doing Peacemaker, and I don't know if you saw this, but Marvel did the hashtag #WhatIf on Twitter, and everybody was like doing what if suggestions.
Thomas Hayden Church.
Thomas Hayden Church. We were close. And John Cena replied and was like, #WhatIf Captain America wasn't a total fucking pussy. He'd be me. And like it was Peacemaker. It's just so funny that he fucking is just going at it.
John
like
Cena.
That.
I still wanted Cena Shazam. I thought that would have been better.
Oh yeah, he would have been perfect.
And then when you had with The Rock as Black Adam.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah, that would have been perfect.
But they didn't do that already, so God forbid I was ever happy.
Okay, so
my turn?
Yes.
So I put I got Doom, and I'll start with Doom. So thinking a lot about this, about changing up a little bit, because obviously in the comics, Victor Von Doom is kind of a contemporary of Reed Richards. I'm going in a different direction. I want my Doom to be maybe a little older. This actor might be a tad old, but I want Viggo Mortensen as Dr. Doom.
Yes.
I think he would do a really good job. He's vaguely European. I think he's from like New York, but he's like I think he was raised in like the Netherlands or something like that. So he's kind of got this vague European thing about him. He was great as he was Aragorn in the Lord of the Rings.
He was
movies.
also Van Helsing, wasn't he?
No, that was Hugh Jackman.
Oh, yeah.
But he was also in this really good movie called History of Violence.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
that's a comic, actually.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I actually read it as a graphic novel before I saw the movie.
And very good film, very well written film.
Yeah.
But I just think Viggo Mortensen would be a really good.
He would bring the emotional depth needed to actually play.
And he's
Doom.
fucking intimidating.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he's got a presence.
He
Like,
broke his toe in the middle of the Lord of the Rings and just kept going.
Yeah, like he's an actor that I just really liked. And
He's got the stare down too.
Yeah, and he's got a presence that I think even with like a mask on, he would still be able to carry.
Oh yeah, I agree entirely.
So, my Reed Richards, I don't dislike Krasinski, but I will admit that I want somebody else.
From The Office, you want Rainn Wilson? No, I'm sorry,
Dude. Yeah, no.
yes, no. How did you know?
I want Toby. I don't remember the actor's name. I want Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Reed Richards.
He was my choice for Johnny Storm originally.
Yeah, I think he's at that age now where he could be a good, not quite middle-aged. He's like, I think I have it right here. But he's 30. Oh, he's 40.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect then.
So he's like that really good age and I just like him.
Yeah, so
I
do
think
I.
he's really good. My favorite film of his is Looper. I really like that movie. And I think he did really well in it. And I think he'd be a really good choice. He would be believable as a genius, but
I
also
agree.
believable as a
pussy?
Well, also I was going to say he's still got he's got that weird dichotomy where you could believe that he's like a super genius and he's also like not horrible to look at.
Yeah.
Like, he's not like
I get what you're saying.
unattractive.
I was just thinking that, Reed Richards.
It's kind of a,
Yeah,
he's a lover, not a fighter.
Exactly.
Kind of
And he always has been until he got his powers and then kind of had to step into the role.
So I said, I agree with you, Terry Crews.
Yeah, Terry
so
Crews.
my Sue Storm is Diana Agron, I think. Agron.
I'm not familiar with the name.
She was in Glee, I think, and she's been in she's somebody knows her.
Okay.
And she's got she looks a lot like her.
Okay.
And I think she's a pretty solid actress. She was in this movie with De Niro and I think it was called The Family or something like that. They were like a mob family on the run.
Is it The Irishman?
No. This was a while ago. This was
Okay.
10 years ago. She hasn't really done a whole lot lately. It'd be cool to see her in something.
Okay.
And I could believe her being the sister also of my Johnny Storm, Zac Efron.
Zac Efron? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sold on that.
I think Zac Efron would be perfect for the role. He's fitting in the age with these guys.
Yeah.
I think Diana Agron said she was 35. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, 40. He's 33. So,
Yeah,
and he
fits
could
in.
play a little younger too. Like he could be 29 or something.
They're casting right now for Werewolves by Night or Werewolves by Midnight. Do you know what I'm talking about? Is it
Yes.
obscure Marvel property?
Yeah.
I guess they're doing it. And that's who I thought for that movie, actually, because it's about werewolves that go out and hunt werewolves, I'm pretty sure. I can't remember. I've never read the comic.
I haven't either, but I've heard of it. But, and then I have one last character.
Okay.
Who is one of my low-key favorite Marvel characters. I picked Bryan Cranston as the Silver Surfer.
Oh, okay, I could buy that.
Now, obviously, you get CGI, but do what you did in Rise of the Silver Surfer movie where Lawrence Fishburne did the voice and then they had a body double. Because
I forgot that was Lawrence Fishburne. I was about to suggest him for Silver Surfer.
Well, he's also in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, yeah,
he
he's
was Goliath.
Goliath, yeah.
So, because I thought about bring him back. But I think you could do a motion capture thing with Bryan Cranston. And I think he would be really good as a Silver Surfer.
You guys couldn't see it, but I had a click moment, and I could see that Mike saw it. Ron Perlman as the Silver Surfer would be
not
really
a bad
fucking
one.
good,
Yeah.
too. He's got the voice for it. He'd just be like, War never changes.
Yeah.
Neither does Galactus.
I want to see Bryan Cranston in something.
I want him as Magneto so fucking bad.
Yeah. That's a good one.
He could either lead the X-Men or fucking be the one to try and destroy them.
Yeah.
Either way, I want him in it. Weirdly enough, on the subreddit that I go to for all my leaks and everything, I'm not going to give it away, even though they've been threatened for DCMA 17 times now, and most people get their Marvel leaks from it. Weirdly enough, the night after we recorded that first podcast, and I was like, hey, him is Magneto, so many people on that were like, hey, yeah, I want Bryan Cranston, because we were talking about Angelina Jolie coming into the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
And what high-profile actors would anybody want to see? And everybody, Bryan Cranston is Magneto. Bryan Cranston is
That's
Magneto.
a really good one. I feel like I still like Denzel Washington personally.
Yeah,
in that
he would
role.
do good.
Although Denzel Washington could be a good Silver Surfer, like, because the thing is whoever you get to play the Silver Surfer, I mean, he's going to be mostly CGI.
Yeah,
it's going to be kind of like Josh Brolin with Thanos. Like, you just you're not going to fucking paint a guy silver. Like, it's going to look
Joe
silly.
Pesci is the Silver Surfer.
Hey,
What the fuck
I'm
you
the
thinking?
hero of the Galactus here. What do you want to fight about it?
My
What,
board,
why'd you
I
bring
swear,
the
my
fucking
board.
check?
The powers are in the board. All right,
Fucking-
no, never Joe Pesci.
Always Joe Pesci.
Always Joe Pesci.
I want Joe Pesci to be the one above all when they
Oh my
finally
God.
get to it.
You know what? Yes.
He'll be dead way before they finally go, let's jump that shark. Like,
Let's jump that shark. All right, now that we're fading out of our main topic of the night, what are some movie moments, Marvel or comic book moments, that just you feel meant more to you than anything? If you want, I can give you an example real quick.
Sure.
One moment in Endgame, actually, that I felt like not a lot of people paid attention to. It is the first. I won't lie. I cried like 4 times in that fucking movie, which I'm sure a lot of people did get upset during it, or at least emotional. Is when Iron Man first, or Tony Stark first comes out of space and he walks off, and the first thing he says is Steve, before he says anything else, before he says anything to anybody, even though his wife is there, or about to be wife, he says, "I lost the kid."
yeah.
And that part just fucking shook me, man. Shook me entirely.
Well, I really do like the arc that they took Tony Stark on in the MCU.
So do I.
I kind of like it better than in the comics,
Yeah,
honestly.
I
'cause-
do wish they did Demon in a Bottle. They were supposed
Yeah.
to with Iron Man 3, and then Disney
Chickened
told
out.
them not to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah, I would have liked to have seen the alcoholism more. That was such a big part of Tony Stark's arc in the comics. But
Oh,
I really
yeah.
like this idea that Tony is just this like tragically flawed character.
Yes.
He means well, but he just brings tragedy wherever he goes. And in his final moments in that, and like just to know that like he fucked up
yep.
and lost the kid, like
Yeah.
that meant something to him.
Oh, yeah.
And that, yeah, man. So a thing that made me emotional was the whole Green Lantern movie. Just, oh my God,
Yeah.
my favorite thing.
Oh my God.
No, they ruined it. Man, like comic book movie moments, like, I mean, in the MCU, Loki finding out, like, talking to Thor after their mom died.
Oh my God,
That was
yeah.
a great moment.
When he was in prison?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. Shit.
And then in the Loki series, when he sees her again,
Yeah.
and like knows that she's already dead, like it's beautiful, man.
So WandaVision is still my favorite series.
Of course.
I'm a big fan of
Scarlet Witch.
Scarlet Witch
Yeah, she's
in the comics, but especially in the movies. I
Oh, yeah.
really love what they've done.
Elizabeth Olsen is
She's
fucking
killed it.
gorgeous. She kills
Yeah.
it. I mean, she's my probably favorite character in the MCU.
She's up there for sure.
Oh, yeah.
And I just love that series. It was the one that was like, oh, I gotta come back. I gotta keep seeing
Yeah.
more. I gotta keep seeing it.
Oh, yeah.
I watched Loki in all one sitting because Luke eventually annoyed me to the point where I was like, fine, fuck it, and I liked it. It was good.
The Kang parts is why I wanted you to watch it.
The second they saw the foretellers or whatever, the Guardian people or
Yeah, the Timekeepers.
the timekeepers, and I saw the one in the middle with the helmet. I'm like, oh, it's Kang.
Like,
Like,
immediately. you're
I was like,
fuck.
oh, that's why he wanted me to say it's because Kang. But I loved at the end when she's like, when she goes to the house that Vision bought for them,
Oh my God.
and then she like just erupts. Like that's a good moment.
It is. It's beautiful, man.
Another good moment, and I'm a bit of on a hill here, but the end of X3 when Wolverine has to kill Jean Grey. That was like the only moment in that movie where I was like, oh, a moment of like actual like.
No, okay, I
Something.
can see where you're coming from though, when he's like screaming no and stuff, and he's
and she's
stabbing her.
tearing him apart, and he
Yeah.
knows he has to do it, and he's
Yeah.
like, he's crying, he's like, I'm sorry, and then just fucking wastes her.
Oh yeah, and he's holding it. I forgot about that. Yeah,
that's
you
a good
gave me
moment.
goosebumps
yeah,
a little bit.
that's the only moment in that movie
That's-
that isn't ridiculous.
That's like
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
yeah, I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Could you tell it was directed by Brett Ratner?
Yeah, that's all you got to say.
Directed by Brett Ratner. That's it.
And then if we're getting into like just a broad term comic book movie moments, definitely Man of Steel, and we've talked about this.
Oh, I love
times.
that movie. Fuck you. I love that movie.
I know.
I love that movie.
The moment where he kills
Zod.
Yeah, and he just that death shattering like no, because he didn't want to do it.
Yeah,
it was the only other
now
Kryptonian.
he's alone.
Yeah, he's alone.
Now Henry Cavill, we didn't deserve him. He was great.
He's the king of the nerds, man.
He is. No, I fucking love him. And another moment that God, that movie had a lot of them. I don't care. I like the moment where Jonathan Kent is talking to Clark, and he goes, after he saved the kids in the bus, he's like, you can't do that. And Clark goes like, well, what was I supposed to do? Just let him die? And Jonathan just goes, maybe, because he doesn't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know.
What's the answer?
Right.
That movie, I got dumb. You know, the whole Dragon Ball Z bullshit with the fucking, you know, fight at the end and destroying the city. Like, it was a bit much. Yeah. But everything leading up to, like, that was just a good movie, and Cavill fucking killed it.
That's why it's so sad that he got fucked over the way he did.
Yeah.
And just,
I really want to see him.
He's talking about coming back for, like, bit things, like cameos and shit
yeah,
like that.
I'd like to see him say, fuck you to DC, go to Marvel.
I would too, actually. He would make a good Doom.
Oh, he would make a good Doom. A lot of people have talked about him as Hercules.
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
I think would be cool.
Especially since they just did the Eternals and stuff. Yeah. That would make sense for a sequel.
Man. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just...
that it just gets you.
I love Man of Steel. I still like that movie a lot.
I do too.
See, that's the problem with those DC movies, is that there are moments that you're like, God damn it. Like this, like, even like little stupid moments, like in the trailer for Batman vs Superman. That was stupid. But like when fucking Perry White goes, nobody wants to see Clark Kent take on the Batman, and you're like, I don't know, like that was a nice, was a fun little moment.
Oh hell yeah! I'm gonna take us back now. To like 2005.
Oh boy, classic
2006.
time.
Yeah, classic times.
The reign of Limp Bizkit.
Actually, it was probably before that. Woo! My wife loves Limp Bizkit. With the chainsaw every night.
The first step is admitting you have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, every night we're in bed, she's just like, Fred, and I'm like, what? It's very, very disturbing, but at the same time, it gets me rock hard.
If it works.
But no, the entirety of Spider-Man 2. But no, Alfred Molina, his performance.
Eventually you will learn this guy's name.
It's Molina. But it just his performance as Doc Ock. But the train scene in particular, when they're carrying Spider-Man back and they take off his mask. And I love the guy that's like, he's just a kid, not even older than my own son.
Clearly like 35-year-old Tobey Maguire.
But nonetheless, it's the emotional context of the moment. It's fucking beautiful. And then the kid handing him the mask back, I found this and we won't tell anybody. Don't worry. Like, it's one of those moments where you're like, it reminds you why you love Spider-Man.
Yeah.
It's New York loves Spider-Man.
Yeah. Like he's their guy.
I know everyone's like, he's a menace and I don't like him.
He stinks and I don't like him.
But no, it's beautiful. And then him appealing to Doc Ock's humanity at the end of that movie, just for a brief moment, and it's enough for him to be like, drown himself in a river, basically.
Yeah.
Which I will say this.
Hudson Bay.
I don't want to get down on No Way Home because you can ask Mike. I won't fucking stop. I feel bad for Mike. He wakes up every morning.
I love
15 messages for me.
I love it.
Like, here's all the spoilers from last night.
Because it plays into my laziness. I get it without having to do the digging.
That's true.
So I'm like,
but if you realize in the trailers, so Sam Raimi was a genius visually, which he is. Like, let's face it,
he's one of the
camera
best.
Work is insane.
I love his filmmaking.
But when Doc Ock is when the tentacles are in control in Spider-Man 2, they have the red lights on them, and when he's in control, they have white lights on them. And if you look at No Way Home, when he's like doing the Hello Peter scene and everything, the tentacles have the red lights on them. And he even said in his interview when he spoiled Doc Ock was going to be in the movie because Alfred Molina was like, fuck it, I don't care.
Like, I haven't done anything in like 10 years.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Besides
I get to get out of the house.
Exactly. But yeah, it's red. So, and he said that, the tentacles are doing all the work, which to me, it makes me think that like, even it's almost like that comic where it's basically a dead Doc Ock. And the tentacles are just dragging around this body of a man.
I remember that.
Yeah. It's that's kind of my theory of what's going on there, is that he's basically gone. His consciousness is still there. Like, he's still there, but he's not him anymore. He's not Otto Octavius anymore.
No, he's Doc Ock.
He's
now.
Doc Ock entirely. But yeah, all right, we're wrapping up actually for the night. I know this episode was a little bit shorter than our previous one, but starting from this episode onward, we're going to be doing recommendations of the week, and these are recommendations for me to Mike, and Mike to me, and for you guys out there. So, Mike, what is your recommendation of the week? Movie, comic, what?
So I recommend everybody read the Green Lantern Mosaic series. I've told you a little bit about this.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't really want to give too much away.
Okay.
It's really one of those that you should read. But basically, Jon Stewart is entrusted with a special task from the Guardians.
Okay.
Because they're testing him for some stuff. They didn't really ever finish it, and they never really. And one thing I'm really kind of excited about with this new frontier that they're doing is they're kind of hinting that they're gonna kind of finish up the story now. But the reason they kind of put it, they did the story, then they didn't really do anything with it because they did Emerald Twilight and wiped out the core and stuff right after, and now they're kind of like giving Jon Stewart some payoff to that arc. I highly recommend it.
Okay,
it's really good.
My recommendation is a movie, and we were talking about Joseph Gordon-Levitt earlier. My favorite Joseph Gordon-Levitt movie is a film called Brick. Rian Johnson's first movie that he wrote and directed it. And if you haven't seen it, it's basically a early 2000s retelling of classic noir films.
Okay.
It's him. He's trying to figure out his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend at the time is murdered, and he's trying to figure out who did it. And it involves a brick of drugs. That's why the title is Brick. But I would definitely check it out. If you like Knives Out, especially, you know how he has that quirky vocabulary throughout the movie. The Brick is riddled with that. I mean, it's probably one of my top 5 movies of all time.
Hell yeah.
It's amazing. But all right, on that note, everyone out there have a good night, and we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.